That happens a lot, but Safe Flight could have helped.
So don't let that little chip spoil your trip.
Safe Flight Repair, Safe Flight Replace.
Introducing new Advil Targeted Relief, the only topical pain reliever with 4 powerful pain-fighting ingredients that start working on contact to target tough pain at the source for up to 8 hours of powerful relief. New Advil Targeted Relief.
E.T. from the Palm Beaches rolls on tomorrow with hometown guy Tyler Cameron.
Ooh, I'm not mad at that. And if you're looking to plan a vacation here, you can visit thepalmbeaches.com for more information. Now, before we go, look who's back on the field.
Thanks for coming out today, guys.
Killer Trav.
Happening now.
A computer system outage still causing problems, keeping some people's summer vacation plans up in the air. I'll tell you what airlines are still affected and what to do if you plan to travel.
It's good to see activity on authority radar, especially considering it's July. We'll talk about where the rain is now, where it's going, and our rain chances the rest of the week in just a bit.
Plus, now that Joe Biden is no longer in the race for president, how do Democrats move forward less than a month away from the Democratic National Convention? We've got a live report. The News at 5 starts right now. At first at 5, a new week, but some old problems still linger from last week. A computer system outage last Friday caused trouble worldwide, including in the airline industry.
It's still causing problems right now. It's causing delays at San Antonio International, where our Katrina Weber says that people are being forced to change their vacation plans.
From the long lines to the crowds on the move, the summer travel rush is on at San Antonio International Airport. Well, that is for some people.
We were supposed to be traveling on Friday, so we showed up here for our trip, and they said the plane had been delayed.
The Apondo family's plans to fly to Disney World have yet to get off the ground. After hours at the airport this weekend, they found out both their Friday flight on Delta Airlines and another Saturday were canceled. They hoped a third attempt today would be the charm.
If it's canceled, I think we'll have to drive to Florida because we've wasted 3 days.
A software problem last Friday that affected computer systems worldwide led to massive flight delays and cancellations. While other airlines are back online now, Delta says it's still feeling the effects.
It happens. We live in a world of technology, so it sucks.
This traveler did her best not to stress about her trip to Canada.
So my first flight out of here was moved to 2 p.m. to leave, and my connecting flight was still scheduled for 9 a.m.
But Delta isn't the only airlines with delays. Southwest, for example, has some flights here, like this one, that are running behind, but they say their problems are due to weather. The ongoing interruptions have had some people scrambling. Praful Mehta was one of the lucky ones. His Delta flight was only 10 minutes late. So it's like you hit the lottery.
Yeah, well, it looks like it, Yeah.
His summer vacation is off to a good start, while others are making memories they'd rather forget. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Technology. All right, well, we're right smack in the middle of the Texas summer, and believe it or not, rain part of the conversation right now.
Yeah, rain actually moved through our area last night, and we have more rain chances this week. I know that Adam Caskey's happy. So how are things looking at this hour, Adam?
Well, we just have some showers likely to start developing over San Antonio. And the reason I say that is because we have 2 outflow boundaries coming together. One of them right here, see this green line? That's basically a distant storm exhaling a wind that acts like a mini boundary and lifts the air and helps generate showers. And already that has popped up a few of these downpours. One right over Kirby, I-10 and 410, Frost Bake Center, the Vault as we call it here, eastward along I-10 just outside of 410. That's the newest downpour that just popped up. And I'm anticipating more of these to keep popping up because of these outflow boundaries that aren't just moving through, but even near Bracken and just outside of Selma. Selma, you can see a good rain shaft off in the distance, just off to the northwest. And these boundaries are actually coming together and colliding. We have a couple of them colliding, especially on the far north side and just north of San Antonio. Look at the last hour. A few of these boundaries coming together. It popped some showers and thunderstorms over New Braunfels, and as these boundaries collide, especially over Bulverde, where we have this green line, I anticipate more development here soon. I mean, we're talking soon. This development should happen and then move around our area. And it's boundary driven and diurnally driven. I want to take a quick look at where we saw rain today. Everywhere You see rain on the map. That's where we had the showers so far today. We'll get into more of the accumulations and how much more we can get and rain chances the rest of the week in just a bit.
Adam, thank you. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office is mourning one of its own this evening. San Antonio police say that she was killed in a crash on I-37 involving a wrong-way driver. Investigators say 20-year-old deputy Meredith Portillo died on impact when another vehicle traveling the wrong way struck her car. Happened yesterday morning just before 1:30. Portillo had been off duty at the time. She was traveling with 2 passengers. The 3 of them were reportedly out getting hamburgers and donuts. One of those people also died. The other was seriously injured. Today, Sheriff Javier Salazar said that Portillo had been with the sheriff's office for less than a year. She planned to join their special emergency response team. And the sheriff also said that Portillo's brother also works with the sheriff's office. As for the wrong-way driver, he was also killed during the crash. Investigators are still looking into what led up to this accident.
We are just one day past President Joe Biden's announcement that he is no longer seeking re-election for president. He endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris for the top spot on the Democratic presidential ticket.
People are now asking, what now? People are asking how the Democratic Party is going to move forward. Well, Karen Caifa has the latest on that shakeup from the White House.
Karen.
Well, Stefania and Steve, among those asking what happens next are the staffers who until yesterday were working on Joe Biden's campaign. Right now, Vice President Kamala Harris is at what is now Harris campaign headquarters in Wilmington, Delaware, speaking to those staffers, drumming up support. And this morning, she was here at the White House. She took some time during her remarks to give tribute to the president.
Joe Biden's legacy of accomplishment over the past 3 years is unmatched in modern history.
Vice President Kamala Harris speaking publicly for the first time Monday since President Joe Biden announced he would not seek re-election and endorsed her as the next Democratic presidential candidate.
Our President Joe Biden fights for the American people, and we are deeply, deeply grateful for his service to our nation.
Dozens of Hill Democrats and other prominent members of the party have come out in support of Harris, but some key party leaders have not weighed in yet. Independent Senator Joe Manchin says he's hoping to see additional candidates join the race.
I really believe strongly, along with I think that former President Obama and Speaker Nancy Pelosi both think there should be a process.
Another important question, who will Harris tap to be her running mate should she secure the nomination? One supporter was out front Monday sounding like he's ready for the job.
The vice president is smart and strong, which will make her a good president.
Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear threw his full support behind Harris while bashing former President Trump's VP pick, J.D. Vance.
J.D. Vance ain't from here. No, the nerve that he has to call the people of Kentucky, of Eastern Kentucky, lazy.
Trump has come out swinging on Truth Social, his campaign having anticipated this possibility for weeks. Sources tell CNN that Trump's team is working on more targeted ads attacking Harris's record and tying her to Biden's border policies. And Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance was out of the gate today at a rally in Ohio, aligning Kamala Harris with the Biden administration's policies on immigration and economy and taking aim. He also took aim at how this democratic process appears to be playing out, telling the audience there that voters are being cut out of it. Live at the White House, Karen Caifa, KSAT 12 News.
Karen, the Harris team kicked into high gear yesterday after President Biden made his decision public. Walk us through what's going on behind the scenes for the Harris for President campaign right now.
Well, first and foremost, they say they are raising money, Steve. The Harris campaign said within that 24-hour window, they raised about $81 million. And that is certainly welcome news to Democrats who were seeing some donors shy away when Joe Biden was going to be at the top of the ticket in recent weeks. The other part of it is that the Harris team is working to get as many Democratic delegates as possible behind her candidacy. What they don't want to see is a messy floor fight at the Democratic convention in a few weeks. So they want to make sure that she has that support behind her. We saw more members of Congress come out today in support of her candidacy. The other thing that the Harris team is doing is vetting potential vice presidential nominees. This is obviously a very condensed time frame for this process. We understand there are about 10 names in the mix right now, some of them from swing states like the Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, also Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper, going through that process of vetting those mostly elected officials to see who would be a suitable running mate on that ticket, Steve.
You know, this isn't just affecting both parties, Karen. You just went over how it's impacting the Democratic side. But when you look at the Republicans, what's their message now that Joe Biden isn't the person that Donald Trump is going to be running against?
Yeah, it really does change the game. It's really a new campaign starting today. And it's not something, Stefani, that Republicans are entirely caught off guard by. As this debate went on in the Democratic Party, Republicans could see, and you even heard it at their convention in Milwaukee last week, they were mentioning the name of Kamala Harris a lot more, tying her to the policies of the current administration, which, of course, they are trying to unseat. We heard J.D. Vance come out today in Ohio, talk about those immigration, economic policies, talk about the process as well. But this also gets a little bit more complicated for Republicans in terms of the message they were taking at the top of the ticket, right? The idea was that Joe Biden did not have the fitness to serve for another 4 years because he was the oldest nominee in U.S. presidential history, or to be nominee in U.S. presidential history. Now that script has flipped, and it looks like Republican Donald Trump will be the oldest nominee in U.S. presidential history. So retooling this, we'll hear a little bit more about their message in the coming days.
Indeed, at least with that message, the tables have turned. Karen Kafer reporting live from the White House. Karen, thank you very much.
The other big story happening in the nation's capital now, U.S. Secret Service Director Kim Cheadle right now in a contentious back and forth with members of the House Oversight Committee as she testifies about security ahead of the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. We've been waiting for this. Lawmakers have been expressing frustration during the hearing. They told Cheadle that her responses to the questions they asked leave them and the American people with no reason to trust the Secret Service. Congress members grilled Cheadle, asking why the rally wasn't paused when they found out about a person of interest about an hour before that shooting.
20 minutes before the shooting began, the state police informed the Secret Service of their concern. Now, the rally was not paused at that point, correct?
Multiple Republicans and at least one Democrat want Cheadle to resign. That's what they've been calling for. So far, she's refusing, saying that she wants to find out why there was a security lapse. The Department of Homeland Security Inspector General, by the way, has opened 3 separate investigations into what went wrong, and the FBI also leading a separate criminal investigation.
Check out TransGuide right now on this Monday afternoon, and we're going to go to I-35 at Maine. You can see busy on both the upper and the lower decks, but no major traffic tie-ups to tell you about at this hour.
Still ahead, when the temperatures rise, most of us find ways to cope, but it's a lot more difficult for pregnant women to keep their body temperatures cool. Why that's important and how heat affects both mom and the baby. Up next.
I'm Myra Arthur here in the newsroom with a look at what we're working on for the news at 6 o'clock today. We've talked to politicians, we've talked to experts and delegates. Now we talk to local voters. What some San Antonians told us they hope happens now that President Biden has dropped out of the race, and what message they have for Texas delegates. That and more today on the news at 6. We'll see you then.
Thank you, Myra. Extreme heat can be dangerous for anyone, but people who are pregnant are especially vulnerable. Exposure to high temperatures can not only harm them, but can also lead to complications with the pregnancy.
Mandy Gaither talks to an OBGYN about what every pregnant woman should know during a heat wave.
Extreme heat and pregnancy. It's not just uncomfortable, but also potentially dangerous.
Pregnant women are at increased risk of heat exhaustion and heat stroke due to the fact that there's a lot of physiologic changes that causes differences in blood flow in their bodies.
Dr. Catherine Caponero, an OBGYN with Cleveland Clinic, says not only can extreme heat be harmful to the person who's pregnant, it can also cause complications for the developing fetus.
So trying your best to do all that you can in your control in order to stay cool and to keep your body healthy is really important for your pregnancy.
To stay safe in the heat, Caponero says try to stay inside during the hottest times of the day. If you do go out, wear light-colored clothing in layers to help keep you as cool as possible. Check the air quality index. Breathing polluted air can cause harm to pregnant people. And finally, stay hydrated. Caponero recommends consuming between 8 and 12 glasses of water a day.
A lot of pregnant women can't tolerate straight water, so sometimes flavoring that with fruits or even a splash of juice can be really helpful.
Since you know your body best, Caponero says if something doesn't feel right in the summer heat, talk to a doctor.
Making sure that you are watching yourself, taking care of yourself, and listening to your body is one of the best things that you can do as a pregnant patient.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Next time you're planning dinner and you're looking for a side dish, consider carrots. A new unpublished study finds that eating 3 servings of baby carrots a week can significantly boost nutrient levels. The authors of this study split 60 young adults into 4 groups. Those who ate 3 servings of carrots 3 times a week, those who didn't get carrots but instead took a multivitamin, and those who took them as a group who did a combination of the two, and those who did neither of those things. And after 1 month, the group that ate the carrots had nearly 11% more antioxidants in their skin. Those who took both the multivitamin and the carrots saw increased levels by 22%. The group that only took the multivitamin saw no changes. By the way, antioxidants help reduce the risk for heart disease and certain cancers. So if you have those in your family, it's important to, I guess you want to eat carrots.
Antioxidants are good things. All right,
Yes.
look at this picture outside. This looks like it's ready to pour.
It does, and that's the thing. It looks like it's so ready. We have all the ingredients there. Now's the time of day we're expecting the showers and storms to really start popping up in and around San Antonio now, because other parts of our area have had the opportunity so far today. You look at the rain chances. At 7 p.m., they're up to 50%. Then they peak at 60%, 9 p.m., all the way through about 2 a.m., and then fall off a little bit tomorrow morning. I still think we'll have areas of rain tomorrow morning, just probably not as numerous, not as much coverage as what we're expecting to start popping up and get going here over the next couple of hours. Warren and Del Rio had over 0.4 of an inch. Leon Springs so far today, about 0.12 of an inch. Nearby Bernie, 1/3 of an inch. In Jim's backyard in Schertz, 0.13. And temperatures you see in the low to mid 90s for the most part. Here's a look at the rain from earlier today. It was really confined to the hill country and out closer to the Rio Grande as well. And especially Dallas all the way to College Station, seeing widespread rain there. That's where we don't need it in this state. Actually, they're not even abnormally dry. Here's the latest on our authority radar. Put it into motion over the last hour. And what we were talking about before were these outflow boundaries that are moving in and even colliding and coming together. So we're anticipating basically this zone right here in particular from roughly Medina Lake Reservoir all the way up toward Austin. That includes Bulverde, Bernie, and Canyon Lake, Fisher, everywhere in between. That's probably the most likely area to see the newest development. We just need to get these showers started and get them going. Where we do have a little bit of that activity already is in and around Medina County, even closer to Pipe Creek here, right along Bandera Road in eastern Bandera County. This one just popped up. This is likely along the boundary that we were talking about. So there it is, just outside of Pipe Creek, where 46 and 16 come together. Basically, this is going to be the case for pretty much the rest of the week. It's not going to be continuous rain chances. Intermittent rain chances is what we are expecting. And at times, we'll have really good coverage on the radar. At other times, there'll just be 1 or 2 popping up. It's going to ebb and flow. You look at the rainfall totals, though. This is over the past 24 hours. And parts of the drought-stricken hill country getting some needed rainfall. You go to northern Edwards County. This is good. This is drought-denting rain. Check that out, just north of Rock Springs. 4.2 inches of rain. You even get into Kerr County and around Ingram, 2 inches estimated. Kerrville around an inch in spots. You get into downtown Kerrville, 1.6. Around Ingram, we've got around 1 to 2 inches estimated by radar. So that's so far. Futurecast, it's on board with more development over the coming hours and lingering into the night as well, and then tapering off a bit for the morning commute. Still some action for the morning commute, probably just not as widespread. And then we'll see more development through the midday hours tomorrow. Again, the coverage on the radar screen is going to constantly ebb and flow every day for the rest of this week. But tomorrow, our best odds, we think, are the first half of the day and then tapering off a little bit later in the afternoon and evening. 86, the high temperature tomorrow. We'll be in the mid-80s for the most part. Comfort, 84. Nixon Smiley, 88. 86 Port SA, Hondo, 86 the high temperature. And you look at those rain chances the remainder of the week, through the work week, anywhere from 40 to even 60% at times. It all comes down to the timing. Bottom line, though, temperatures cooler than average, upper 80s for highs.
Still a good looking forecast.
Yeah, for July? Come on.
Oh, yeah.
This is great.
You got a group of high school football coaches here in town right now that don't care what the weather is like because they're here for Jeff Traylor.
They are here for Jeff Traylor. In fact, they're here to talk to all 13 FBS head coaches in the state of Texas. The Texas High School Coaches Association Coaching Convention is an awesome get-together where the guys got together last night and they talked football and barbecue. What else, right? And UIW head football coach Clint Killow is ready to get the season underway coming up.
Yeah, we're excited to be here in San Antonio. It's always great, you know, for us, kind of being the hometown team. And, you know, we had a great deal at Pinkerton's last night. It was probably, I know we ate all the ribs, drank all the beer, there was nothing left.
Coach Traylor, along with the city of San Antonio, know how to show visitors a great time in big board sports. The 92nd Annual Texas High School Coaches Association Convention and Coaching School is going down at the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center. This is the most comprehensive athletics conference in the state of Texas, and the THSCA has shattered its all-time attendance record at the coaching school with more than 17,000 high school coaches participating. The conference hosted 24 press conferences yesterday and today, including Texas 13 FBS head football coaches. UTSA field boss Jeff Traylor is one of the big dogs in that picture. And last night, UTSA football held the coaches' social at Pinkerton's Barbecue.
I said the same thing. I told my video crew who's in here right now, I said, y'all make sure and film all those Texas high school coaches out there. It's raining. They still in the beer line. They're still talking ball. And only cattle and Texas high school football coaches would just stay out in the rain and drink beer and eat barbecue and talk ball. So we'll have practice in the morning at 8. And we'll have a lot of coaches show up for that, and we'll practice again Wednesday morning. So just a great time for me and our staff to welcome everybody to I think, the best city in the country, San Antonio.
Coach Traylor is heading to Arlington for the 2024 American Athletic Conference kickoff to rep UTSA tomorrow, along with 2 of his student athletes. The Southland Conference held its football opening drive today in conjunction with the THSCA Coaching School and Convention. And this gave us a chance to talk with the UIW head football coach Clint Killow, who is entering his 2nd season with the Cardinals.
Oh, this is the best part of the year. This is my last hurdle. Today's the last hurdle, and then I got to go into a hole and coach football and do the thing that I love to do. So I'm fired up. Our guys report next Tuesday. We get on the turf Wednesday, and I'm ready to go.
And Carter Ward is predicted to finish 2nd in the Southland Conference behind defending champion Nichols, as voted on by each head coach and football sports information director. We'll be right back after the break.
Thank you for watching the news at 5.
See you back here at 6.